Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Doug.
And I'm Lorenzo.
And this is Good Suffering. Now, on this show, we usually review a film that I've seen.
But I haven't.
But before we do that, we get into a little bit of horror news.
Horror news.
Are you going to do that every
You almost
fucking
cut
episode?
me off. How dare you?
Yeah.
You don't like it?
You don't think they've heard that before? You don't think they're horror news?
Fine. Okay, fine. Do it again.
Do a new one.
Do it again.
But before we get into that, we normally do a little bit of horror news.
Do. Horror news.
I like that. That's spunky.
Thank you.
He's really cute. Even before we get into that, I just want to thank the handful of people who have left us some iTunes reviews. They really mean a lot to us. It's really cool, especially so early into this podcast, to see that we are getting listeners and seeing that people are liking what we do.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. If you haven't yet and you feel compelled to leave us a review, it really helps not only get us a bit more reach, but also to get you guys more of what you like. You know what I mean? When you leave a review and you say, I like this, I don't like that, we listen. We like, we are here to serve you.
That's really all we're here for. And also, it's I think what the kids would call a big mood. So if you do that, it'll be a big mood.
Yes, if you leave us a review, you have what the kids call big dick energy.
Yeah, BDE.
Yeah. Okay, so first off, we got a Sharknado 6 trailer. I had to squeeze big kind of monsters in
You and your
somehow.
sharks.
Yeah, I love sharks. Oh my god, I love shark movies. There's dinosaurs versus sharks in the new one. This is the end of the whole franchise, and we're gonna get dinosaurs versus sharks in the future and the past.
Is it now?
Yes.
Is it finally?
Baby. Yes.
I don't believe it.
I'm so ready. 6 movies. It should have been 16.
No,
100.
Should have been maybe one.
No. There's a genius series. It's brilliant. I love all the Sharknado movies deeply in my heart.
Of course you do.
They are especially great. What you need to do to really appreciate those movies is you need to stay up for 24 hours and then proceed to do a marathon of them.
So don't even do it within the 24 hours you stay up.
No, stay up for 24 hours and then start it.
Doing anything else.
And it's masterpiece cinema.
Do whatever. Go shopping, run some errands, read a book, go hiking. After 24 hours have gone, then you start watching your marathon.
Yeah.
Which is going to take quite a few hours.
Yeah, I figure they're like an hour 40 a movie. Or like hour and a half, hour 40 for 6 movies. Yeah.
I feel like I'm ready to do that. I'm tired.
Yeah.
God, I'm beat.
And you're going to be like, wow, these movies are better than The Godfather. So I'm super excited for that. You guys should be too. There is going to be a 4K restoration of The Fog going on a road show in October, LA, New York, Chicago, before hitting all or most of the Alamo Draft houses. It is being presented by Rialto Pictures and Studio Canal. Did the restoration. Definitely go check that out if you have an Alamo near you or if you live in one of those cities. Or the eventual maybe Blu-ray release of it. I mean, Scream Factory, I believe, did a really great The Fog. Did they do it The Fog? I'm pretty sure.
Checking.
Yeah, I think they did The Fog. Either way, the Blu-ray of The Fog is fine. But I'm really excited for this 4K restoration. I'm really excited to see it on the screen. I think it is a super underrated John Carpenter film. And I'm excited to show it to you.
I'm excited too. I just wanted to say, are you done with The Fog?
Yes.
Okay. Because I was going to say, if you guys get to see it, or when you guys get to see it, tag us in it. We want to see that you guys are there. We want to see you holding up your drinks. If there's are there going to be specialty drinks for this, you think?
Maybe at Alamo. I don't know.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, maybe. If you guys go to Alamo. If you guys ever go to Alamo, let me know, because I'm such a big fan of that
big fan
theater
of the
chain.
Alamo Draft House. Yeah.
Yeah. They're also going to be doing, this is not part of my little horror news I have set up, but just heads up to anybody who likes Puppet Master. They're going to be one of the first theaters showing the new Puppet Master movie. So if you guys really are eager to check that movie out, definitely head there. I'm probably going to head there for the first night. I think it's in a couple of weeks. So I'm super excited for some Puppet Master. That series and Charles Band, Full Moon Pictures in general, wishes it was that fancy as to be Puppet Master.
You said so many things there that I didn't understand.
Hopefully somebody out there gets it. Negan from The Walking Dead is going to be a playable character in Tekken 7. There's no way for me to say it other than that sentence just like that.
Okay, on to the next.
yeah. By Tekken 7, who Tekken interestingly has made some weird crossover deals. They had a deal with New Japan Pro Wrestling, which I'm also a big fan of. to do like some crossover merch and stuff. And now we're getting Negan from The Walking Dead, who's gonna go kick King's ass and stuff.
God, I love King.
Yeah, I know. That's always who I play as.
Yeah.
You know, when it's Tekken Tag and you can build the different teams, I always just do an all animal team. That's just always what I do. And there's always just enough animal characters or animal adjacent characters to fill up.
Who's
teams.
the one guy with the big hair? Is that Bruce?
Yeah,
Butch?
something like that.
Something like that. I like
It's
him
been
too.
a minute since I played Tekken.
Yeah.
Netflix has announced a new show from Instagram star Christine McConnell called The Curious Creations of Christine McConnell, where she is going to make some horror-themed baking stuff, some treats.
Ooh, we needed another baking show.
I know, on Netflix.
Yeah.
I love them, though. That's like my guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
But it's going to be produced by Jim Henson's company. Yeah, to do some interesting Netflix baking stuff. At least it's not a competition.
I wonder if is it going to be like a multicam kind of thing too, like another live setup or something like that, or
Probably something like that.
Yeah?
I'm not sure. There's little information about it at the time. It's probably going to premiere next week or next year rather. Jesus. AMC will be airing Eli Roth's History of Horror series this October. It's a 6-part miniseries as part of their Visionaries thing that they're doing. It follows, which I'm really meant to watch this, but James Cameron's history of science fiction. It's going to have a ton of A-list actors and directors and people involved in the genre.
That's what I was thinking of. Okay.
To tell a whole history of horror film, or maybe even horror in general. I'm very excited for that. And also, I regretfully have not watched it yet, but there is a trailer for Hell House LLC 2, The Abaddon Hotel, which is out, and you guys should go check it out. And this is mostly a plug for me saying that Hell House LLC is the best found footage movie since Grave Encounters, so you guys should go check it out. And then check out the sequel. And then watch it all again. And then just send them money in an envelope because they are really doing God's work with keeping the genre alive.
And then listen to our subsequent
future episode about Hell House LLC, which just might be coming up soon.
Ooh.
But yeah.
Is that horror news?
That's horror news, man.
All right. And that was horror news. No?
So today we're talking about Neil Marshall's 2005 film, The Descent. Let's kick it right off with the IMDb.
The non-sponsored IMDb synopsis of The Descent. A caving expedition goes horribly wrong as the explorers become trapped and ultimately pursued by a strange breed of predators.
It's okay. It's all right. It's not as good as Evil Dead or Blair Witch was, but
I feel like
very to the point.
Exactly. It's so on the nose that it just doesn't even sound intriguing.
But that's kind of what this movie is. You know what I mean? It's like
it's what?
A very economic.
Is it?
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, all right. Before I tell you what I think of it, what did you think of it?
You know what's funny is that I almost want to break formula here.
Do you?
I really want to hear what you have to say, just because I have a feeling that you and I disagree.
Really?
I don't know. It seems like it. Just leading up to this episode.
Okay. I like this movie a lot, man.
Do you?
I do.
Okay.
It's not like in my top 10 favorite horror films of all time. I like it more as I get older, but yeah, I do like this movie. I don't dislike it. Were you waiting for me to say oh, this movie sucks?
I was.
No, I like this movie.
Not that it sucks, but that just your opinion of it wasn't necessarily just a lukewarm kind of opinion on it.
That's fair. I started off with a lukewarm opinion of it, and I've been watching it pretty that's weird because I did start off with that kind of opinion, like, oh, The Descent, it has a lot of hype, but it's cool. It's a fine movie. But there's something that draws me to it, and I'm always wind up watching it every 4 or 5 months. What did you think of it?
So for me, I originally thought it's just one viewing, my first. But I originally thought that it was going to be just another, early 2000s kind of like horror mill movie, just pumping stuff out. Lionsgate, at it again.
Oh, I don't mean to cut you off, but this is our, not counting Evil Dead 1.
Yeah.
This is our 4th Lionsgate movie in a row.
Okay, hold on.
Because it's this, Blair Witch put
Witch.
out the Blu-ray for that. Evil Dead 2 is a Lionsgate release, and so is the Witch.
Shoot.
And I didn't check back any farther, but yeah, I was noticing. I'm like, why do all these like menus on these Blu-rays look the same? And why is it always the same like kind of deal, like how you move in and out of the screens?
Right.
It's all fucking Lionsgate, and we swear to God, this is not a Lionsgate like.
This is a Lionsgate podcast. We're sponsored by Lionsgate and IMDb.
Yeah, I wish we'd
that'd
be
be
rolling in
great.
a little bit of money then.
Yeah. No, and what's funny is that the opening credits of showing Lionsgate, it kind of reminded me of how scared I would be in movie theaters whenever I would see that title card. Eyes shut immediately because I don't want to hear what's happening. I think it might be the color tone because it's red, and I just very vividly
with the gears, right?
I just remember all of that and just being like, okay, time to shut down until my movie starts.
That's very synonymous with horror for me.
Yeah,
like that like kind of opening.
Except I didn't enjoy it.
Fair.
And you did. But no. So yeah, it started off. It just felt like a post Saw movie. You know, lots of like very distinct, like severe coloring with like lighting and stuff. You know, the blues are very blue. The oranges are very orange. You know, that's just, it felt formulaic. I was like, oh my God, we're gonna watch some BS movie. But when it finally got around to it, right, once they started exploring the cave and you know the drama was building of them. Or of Juno basically tricking everyone into thinking they're going to one place and in fact going in another. I was having fun. It felt like just a great adventure movie.
Right.
And I had remembered that there were creatures in this. I didn't look it up prior to the movie, but I was watching. I was like, wow, I wonder if this is just going to be like a movie about, let's say, you know, they mentioned like how you can get dehydrated or you can start seeing things or what have you. I thought it was just going to be about that.
They point out in the commentary that all of those things that are mentioned as they're going into the cave happen in the order that they're said. And I don't know how true that is, but Neil Marshall was like, all of those things happen to them like as she reads them off.
I'm trying to think of like when they were really dehydrated. Like when did they really? That's the one that sticks out to me.
Eh.
Oh, well, what I do want to go back and watch it. So I guess that is to say, I really
That's what's
I was
interesting.
floored by this though.
You don't really know how long they're down there. You know what I mean? It seems like it could be a short amount of time, could be a long amount of time.
True.
I guess, you know,
True, there's no
that's
passage.
it's cool because it's kind of like when you're down there, you don't see the
truly
sun
don't
set
know.
or rise, you know, you don't know. And the one watch that becomes kind of part of it gets tossed, you know, kind of quickly once the
Yeah, I was
crawlers
gonna
show
say
up.
like up until then, you can probably presume that it's just one day.
Yeah.
Within one day, but after that, you know, who knows? But yeah, no, I thought this was great. I mean, I loved so much of it, and then was let down. But I'm sure we'll get into that.
yeah. Spoiler alert: there are two endings for this film, and I did tell you the other ending, which is the preferred ending by most people.
Sure.
The UK ending or the unrated ending, depending on where you are. In America, it ends with Sarah escaping the cave, finding a car, and then seeing Juno's sort of ghost or apparition or just like some kind of her mind fucking with her, of her sitting next to her in the car. But and that's where it cuts. It just cold cuts to black. Or the UK ending, which is the better ending. Sarah wakes up in the cave after seeing that and envisions her daughter's kind of little birthday party deal going on, which is a motif through the film. And it turns out that's actually the light of her torch on the cave ground as she's like still just trapped down there.
Yeah, that is such a great shot that they pulled off there.
And as they're pulling out.
Yeah,
it's
so
great.
essentially what it is like, you know, you go back to like the cake thing. You see from her perspective. And if I remember the sequence right, it goes to like a close up of her eyes, and then it goes to like a little bit of a wider shot. You still don't see what the flames are. You just see the light, and as it pulls out, like you see like the flame coming from the torch, and it's just a longer pulling shot until you see just that she's stuck in such a huge cave, and you can pretty much safely assume she's stuck there for the rest of her life. Very, very short life.
Very short life, yeah.
and it just ends right there, and it's stark. So very different endings.
You wish you saw it for the first time with that, right?
Well, okay, so you know what? We're already talking about the ending. Let's just go ahead and talk about it. I had originally just saw the one where she's in the car, she gets out, and then you see Juno's whatever, her apparition. That just turned me off immediately. Like, I was fine with her getting out. I was fine with her surviving. You know what? That's great. But just ending on that stupid kind of jump scare just soiled the whole movie for me. Then it felt like I was watching a cheesy movie. The whole time I thought this was great. This is like a, maybe a Shining. I don't think I've seen too many 2000s horror movies. I avoided them at all costs. But this seemed like, maybe like a rare exception. It seemed like such a great movie. And then that ending really ticked me off. So before you told me that there was another one,
You were going to come here and shit on this fucking movie.
No, not even. I was just going to say, like, I wish there was another ending where they literally just didn't show that part. And then you told me about the other ending where it's just drastically different. And I wasn't really feeling it when you first told me, but then after watching it, it's a fantastic ending that way.
The reason why that ending exists is because this film suffered sort of the same fate that Fright Night did. Fright Night was originally supposed to end with, you remember, it's Peter Vincent talking through the screen to the main character, whatever his name is. At the end of the movie, he was supposed to turn into an actual vampire and bite the actress he's working with. Like, sort of like, he actually did get turned in the end.
Right, yeah.
And they said, oh, no, this is too dour of an ending. U.S. audiences don't want to see anything end sad. We don't want to see the heroes lose. And that's sort of what happened here. They played the original cut for audiences, and then they played the cut where it just cuts on, Juno and her screaming in the car. And it scored like 10 or 15 points higher. And people were just like really eating up that kind of like final jump scare ending, which just kind of shows how vapid audiences are.
Yeah,
and I hate to shit on the public because like that's what movies are made for anyway. But I don't know.
But they don't know what they want.
They don't know what they know what they want, but they don't know what they need.
Sure, let's put it that way. Yeah, you're probably right.
I've got some anecdotes which I've gotten from like the audio commentaries. There were 2 for this movie, so I had to sit through this movie quite a few times over the past week. And really, I didn't get a lot. It was really more anecdotal than it was very informative. There was a lot of spaces where they're just almost kind of waxing poetic on their own creations.
Yeah.
And where they're just having fun with each other. But this was not shot in an actual cave system. It was shot at Pinewood Studios, huge, movie studio in London. Shot all like the James Bond movies there, tons and tons of films, Star Wars. And they really only had like 6 or 7 or 8 different cave sets that they would light differently to make it look different. And then a bunch of smaller little places for them to crawl through and stuff that really are just almost like wheeled onto the set.
Yeah.
That typeface at the beginning that like you see like all the names in it is actually cribbed from like Carpenter films like Big Trouble in Little China and like Escape from New York. There are like specific references in this movie to like Deliverance, The Howling, The Shining, Carrie, Apocalypse Now, Last of the Mohicans. Like Neil Marshall, whatever he doesn't have creatively as a director, because realistically outside of like this and Dog Soldiers, he has not done a whole lot. He made Doomsday and Centurion. He won a couple of Emmys, are the TV ones, right?
Yeah,
and he won a couple Emmys for Game of Thrones and some other TV.
He did Hannibal too.
Yeah, he did a couple episodes of Hannibal, I think, and he's also going to be the director of the upcoming Hellboy reboot.
Right. Yeah.
So he hasn't done a whole lot, but whatever he makes up, whatever he lacks, he makes up from like cribbing from other movies. You know what I mean? And you see that shot of like when Sarah's like drenched in blood, like that's such a Carrie reference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's sort of tilted diagonally. And he's like pointing out every flaw in the movie, which I've just noticed as I've watched more audio commentaries. He's just like, that's just what directors do on these DVDs. He's like, this sucks, this sucks. Hey, you see over there, that's one of the crew members' faces. And he's pointing out, oh, this is the wrong color. Or notice like the CGI crows because we got real crows and they didn't want to fly for us. And he...
Directors, man.
That waterfall right when they first go into the caves and it's real just like nice and it's like a slow. That's not water. That's actually a mixture of talcum powder and salt.
So like, is it a miniature then?
No, I don't. No, I don't think it's a miniature.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of salt, right?
Yeah. Movie magic, man.
Yeah. What else? They cut out a lot because they, as they were shooting and as they were editing, they realized they really wanted these characters to be defined by the actions they take rather than these backstories. They actually cut out. You remember Rebecca in the film?
Yep.
They actually
She's a dark-haired girl, right?
Think so. Yeah. They cut out an angle with her being religious and always like going to like her like cross necklace. They cut out a lot of like backstory so that you would really get a feel of the characters from what they do.
And that one might have been a little confusing with Juno's necklace.
Yeah,
ends up
especially because
being-
that becomes such
Right.
a big important thing.
Right, that's what I thought it was originally, just a religious thing.
Right.
To go back on Marshall's what seems to be from your point of view, kind of like a lacking in maybe directing prowess. I got to give him a lot of credit though for not making it what's the word? Kind of like just campy. You know, not like really shoving it in your face, like, "Hey, this is a direct reference from this." Don't you remember, right?
He also said that the original version of the script has the women as very much like caricature type characters, and like a lot of the nuance of this film came from working on the film rather than like directly his script.
Well, that's great, and especially for a movie that's like so much about like just survival and adventure.
Yeah, it wasn't
You know,
even supposed to be 6 women.
mean
Like
it
it was going to
wasn't?
be a mixed cast, mixed gender
Co-ed?
cast. A co-ed film, yeah.
Well, no, they made the right choice.
Oh yeah, and they go back on that choice in the second movie,
Mm-hmm.
and it just totally like it's just like people in a cave.
Yeah. One thing though, I gotta say that I just really, like I said about the beginning, I felt like it was just gonna be trash. Essentially, it's just that it tries to pack in so much information. It does do a lot of backstory, context early on. Luckily, afterwards it stops. But I mean, seeing them like whitewater rafting, then seeing like the dad and the daughter, what's her name? Jessica?
Jessica, yeah.
Yeah.
The dad's Paul.
Right. And
Oh, I sounded so Jersey there. Paul.
Paulie.
Hey, Paulie.
Yeah, you know, it packs that in, and then there's like it goes, you know, to the hospital, and then it goes back to like them kind of just going again into the woods. You know, it's just it was taking a lot of time to just set it up. And I was hoping it would get, you know, straight to the point a little bit. But one thing that came out of that, one really bright shining gem from that opening was the hospital part. I think it really set the tone of how this was going to be, I guess, a study on her mental stability.
Yeah.
And her, like, you know, just kind of recovering.
Right.
Or just trying to deal with her loss.
And begins the whole kind of waking nightmare theme that
Right.
really starts, you know, you question her as a reliable character.
Mm-hmm.
You question what's going on in the film. You know, she's got like all the lights turning off as she's running down the hallway.
Yeah.
Later on, when they're in the cabin, you see her, you know, she has that dream of the thing coming through the window, like the pipe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and getting her. So you know, you're often wondering like how much of this is real. You know what I mean? Is she in that cave killing all her friends? Is nothing really happening? Is she still in the hospital? Like this can kind of go anywhere. And we're actually going to get really heavy handed with that by like, you know, that scene where all the lights are turning off as she's running.
Yeah.
They were actually going to put a crawler like on the wall or something, like the shadow of one or something, and they edited that out because they didn't want to be too heavy-handed with any one reading of the film. They wanted people to kind of make up their own minds, like how much is happening, you know, how much isn't.
Cool. No, I appreciate that. I mean, I feel like that would have really sucked the air out of everything if they put the crawler immediately. Because, like I said, I even forgot that they had creatures, or I was just kind of wondering like when they were going to show up. They take a long time to get there.
Yeah, like 40 minutes, 45 minutes before they really show up.
Yeah.
Like they really...
Once they're there,
Shit's already going wrong,
all bets
you know
are
what I
off.
mean? And which makes it nice. It makes it more than just kind of like a monster movie.
exactly. Like it was a legitimate like just adventure movie, and I was just like, you know, feeling just tense watching them just trying to survive.
Yeah.
So with all that stakes at hand, and then the creatures on top, it was fantastic. And I love the creatures too.
Yeah.
I love that they're like brutal, like they tackle them and they wrestle with them, and it's a lot of like hand-to-hand combat nearly.
Because they're really what you're kind of supposed to believe about them is that they're almost like descendants of cavemen that never left the caves and were like kind of evolved to that kind of situation. They're really just very territorial. They're hungry, you know what I mean? They eat holly in front of Sarah, which is kind of like a rough scene, you know what I mean? Sarah goes through just so goddamn much in this movie.
A lot.
Yeah. Which makes for a really interesting transformation as she becomes like very primal and very brutal. You know what I mean? When her and Juno are fighting the monsters at the end, you know, Sarah's just like almost kind of caveman-like, and she's covered in that blood, and she's just, you know, going in. While Juno, through the film, like any kind of action sequence that she's in, she's almost like she's shot like, you know, like almost like Angelina Jolie in like Tomb Raider or something, where she's just like I'm the badass hero and like the
wasn't that her line
sleeveless
too
shirt.
that said that she's like, oh, I'm a vet or something, I'm not Tomb Raider. It was one of their
Something.
line. One of them.
Did you get to watch this twice or just once?
Just the ones.
If you go back, you'll see a lot of like little like every line counts in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like even when they hint towards the affair that she has, like you
Yeah,
see,
I was
there's-
picking up on that.
There's
Yeah.
not only like that way that like Paul treats her so tender, and he's kind of like ignoring his wife as he like helps her out of the water and takes off her gear,
Mm.
you know, and then there's some kind of line that Holly says like, "Oh, I'm a sport fuck," like Juno,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? And we all lost something in that accident.
Yep.
She says
Yeah.
there's like a lot of hints towards those things, and everything is set up in the film, even though there's no like fat, there's no like real exposition that's like really in your face about anything. Everything in that movie counts. And it's just so it's like it's not a perfect film, but it is perfect storytelling.
No, yeah, exactly. Especially just following Sarah as a character. It's really great. I think she's a fantastic character and a fantastic development. As you mentioned, like, you know, we originally see Juno kicking ass, like just really just going to town, like with this with the axe that she has, like the little pickaxe thing. And I knew that was gonna play an important part because you see a close up shot of her putting that back in her belt. And I was like, okay, I figured she would like lose it or something. It's going to come back in some way. But what it ends up being is her weapon against these creatures. And it's shot beautifully watching her like fight these people.
And eventually
beings.
Beth.
And
for
eventually,
Juno.
yeah. But no, and it's so she's already like the badass. You know, she's already the one that's like really just defending everyone. But watching Sarah evolve from like when she was obviously gone through her trauma, but she's also stuck in the cave when she's trying to crawl through.
She's separated from everybody. She's alone for a lot of this movie. Any of the spaces where she's not just feeling like emotionally alone, she is physically alone as well.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Beth a little bit, because she's an interesting character who doesn't get much of the spotlight, but is really intriguing because she almost doesn't really have much of a very positive relationship with anybody else there. You don't see her really being super duper warm to anybody outside of Sarah. And she's very warm to Sarah in that, and you know, in the scene in the hospital, she's the one who, you know, Sarah collapses in her arms, and you know, Juno's like freaking out, and she walks away. She's, you know, she tells Holly to fuck off when she's like fucking around with the bats thing. She really has this sort of tenderness for Sarah. Like you almost see like, you know, Beth is like Sarah's best friend. You know, Beth was the one who was there, and she almost has more resentment than Sarah does that everybody else in that group kind of abandoned her in her time of need. You know what I mean? Beth is almost like standoffish to everybody else.
I might have been reading too much into it, but I can't even remember. I think it might have been Beth and maybe Rebecca. I thought there might have been like a relationship, like B story back there somewhere where that, you know, they didn't really go into, but maybe hinted at. But she was just very, very sweet, very, very tender. So maybe it's just like that friend, that you know, the caretaker.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate though, because I was wondering too how that was gonna play out. Like, how am I gonna remember each and every character? What's gonna be like their distinct trait? And she does get like the least amount of like even things that happen to her, right? Because who is it? Rebecca. She's the one that's holding the rope, and she gets her hands cut.
Yeah.
When who's it? Juno's like falling down. Yeah. I can't even recall what happens to Beth.
She gets axed in the throat.
Right. Aside from that, like she just gets murdered.
She's there. You know what I mean? She's watching out for Beth. She's the one asking. She's the one
Oh,
when she's stuck in the when Sarah is stuck as like the rocks are gonna fall. She's the one who says to her, you know, the worst thing that could have happened to you has already happened, and you're still here. So let's go.
And then she's like, "Fuck the rope."
She's
just
such a She's such a good fucking friend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You could just feel.
And
that
then
she's such a
even
good
when
friend.
she's like dying, she's like, "Don't trust Juno. Like
Yeah.
she did this to me. She's the one."
It's so
and
heartbreaking.
Sarah's like, "No, you're just going crazy. Like you're seeing shit. Like no, don't trust her." And she gives her the little necklace piece.
Yeah,
She
which is
definitely
the
should-
reveal of
yeah.
like the, you know.
Yeah. All right, so I guess I'm eating my words now. There is definitely a lot more of her than I thought.
Yeah. And it's so heartbreaking when
underplayed.
you see, you know, it's shot so well. You think it's a crawler, you know, the camera moves fast behind Juno, and she just turns around with that axe, and it's just
Blah.
like right through her throat. And it's
And
so,
again, Juno just walks away.
but she's not the villain. You know what I
She's
mean?
not.
It's still
She's
that's
not.
that's what's so great, and that's why this is kind of a feminist film. Is like it doesn't show. It's not like holding hands. You know, all these women getting along. You know what I mean? It's just these human portrayals of women. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're so multidimensional. They're so, they all have their faults. They all have their good qualities. You even look
Yeah.
at somebody like Holly, who's like all like, oh, I'm funny, I'm
She's
happy-go-lucky,
edgy.
and then she's got the short, punky haircut,
Yeah.
and then as soon as shit goes wrong, she's off her rails. You know what I mean? She's cursing at people, and
Right.
she's she's running, and that becomes her folly as she breaks
Yep.
her leg, and it's just this really human portrayal. And in fact, Juno was not even supposed to be an Asian character. She was just Natalie Mendoza is the name of the actress who plays her. She was just cast as that role, so there was really no. There's no stereotyping at all within this film, which really makes it feel organic, really makes it feel real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Besides the fact that they're all kind of unknown actors too, which is nice.
Yeah.
What else, man? What
There's just some parts that I'm really obsessed with that I want to talk about.
Go for it.
All right. So one part was like they did a dream sequence, really short, where the camera's just kind of, dollying in, and you only see the back of someone, I guess, back of Jessica's head, and it just turns around and it's one of the creatures and it just screams. Mm-hmm. That was such like a good like legitimate jump scare. Like I actually like enjoyed. I didn't even get like pissed off at that. I thought it was fine. But I think my favorite shot or my favorite scene, my favorite moment, oh my God, I like jumped out of my chair when I saw it. It was genius. Is when Sarah's playing, it's after the Apocalypse Now shot, she comes out with blood. Like, I'm like, that is so cool. Doesn't compare to when she's on the rock.
Yes.
And she just lays her head down.
Blank eyes, right?
And just plays dead. Like, let's see.
And she gets kicked in the fucking face for it too.
Sarah playing, this is my note. Sarah playing dead on, and this is all caps, Sarah playing dead on the rock is one of the coolest fucking shot/scenes we have seen so far, meaning in the show. I was, I can't believe it. It was amazing. And then just like seeing her pain and all the agony just kind of like mold into rage and will to survive. Oh, that the movie took a total turn. I was like, it's immediately one of my favorites.
That's that moment. You know what I mean? She's killed the female crawler in the water.
Yep.
And she's laying on the rock, and she's just like she becomes like almost a killing machine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she has very little dialogue from that point on.
Right. Yeah.
It's all very hostile.
It's just, and it's a very physical portrayal, very physical character at that point. Like even when she grabs Juno, when she's like scaling up the rocks after falling down in the water, she just grabs her and pulls her into like this cave, and she's like, basically like Tarzan, just like she's become herself. Right. Now a byproduct, a creature of these caves. It was just, it was amazing. It really did feel like kind of watching maybe Apocalypse Now or Deer Hunter or any kind of movie.
Yeah,
with her, like she's in the shit.
This transformation in the jungle. In the shit,
and now that's it. She's just a pure animal.
Yeah,
it was crazy. And then the freaking ending killed it. Like this was how hyped I was about this movie, and then the ending, I was like, way to fuck this whole movie up. God, I loved it. I loved it up until then.
Oh man, let's talk about Juno a little bit more. She's like, I know you're really kind of obsessing over Sarah right now, but Juno is really an interesting character because she has a lot of flaws. Mm-hmm. She did do the, she had the affair.
Yeah.
She, told them they were going into an explored cave system, and she gets really obsessed, really with that kind of like. The naming it, she mentions it 2 or 3 times. She's like, I thought we could name it. It's like almost like she's got like she needs this glory. She needs this like ownership. You know what I mean? Which plays in with the affair motif too. Right. She's really headstrong, but she's also really flaky. You know what I mean? She she watches so many people die in front of her. She kills Beth. She watches Rebecca and Sam die. But like she's really not evil. She doesn't mean for any of them to get hurt.
Maybe not, but she's just selfish.
She is very selfish.
And for that, she gets everyone else hurt.
They do something really funny with that in the sequel, where they make her the reason why they like. I guess we'll talk more about the sequel later, but the reason why they're looking so hard for them in the sequel, because it's a very direct sequel, like it picks up right where one leaves off, is because she's actually a senator's daughter.
What?
Yeah, she's actually a senator, like a U.S. senator's daughter. That's why she's like the only American one.
It seems so out of left field.
Yeah.
Okay. I liked her though. I liked her a lot.
Yeah. And she is cool when she's doing the action stuff, and
fucking awesome.
She snaps the neck.
Yeah.
And that's really cool too.
No, it's badass.
But she has this sort of sense of self-preservation, but also this remorse. You know, she tells Rebecca and Sam when she finds them, look, I know a way out, but I'm not going to do it. We have to find Sarah. We
Yeah,
need to make
exactly.
sure. She feels like she has
She's
a debt owed.
guilty.
Yeah, she's got a lot of guilt, but also a lot of like, I'm going to do what I need to do to make sure that I'm okay as
Yeah.
well. So she's sort of battling with these feelings, which makes her more human, but you also really can't label her as like evil or a villain or
And
like the one who fucks everything up.
Yeah,
Because how could she know that there was creatures in the cave? You know what I
or
mean?
that shit was gonna like start like closing down on them. The only
Right.
reason why they got trapped is because that cave, that tunnel,
Yeah.
closed up.
Yeah.
That was it for them. And who is she to know? How is she gonna know that was gonna happen?
Right.
Um,
But it's also another great example of one of my favorite sort of themes in film, which is just like the human folly of thinking that you're able to conquer anything. You know, we've talked about like I want like a Titanic tattoo and stuff like that. I kind of love that theme of just like humanity being like, hey, we can do whatever we want. This is an unsinkable ship. This is a cave exploration that us as these like, you know, we're like caving, like spelunking enthusiasts. But we're not really, you know, they're not like professionals to like a real extent. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And they get fucked up because of it. And I love that theme of just like, hey, listen, the world, the earth, nature, it's bigger than you.
Yeah.
It's bigger than anything that anything man-made can come at it with.
Yeah, man versus nature, or woman versus nature in this case, was always been one of my favorite kind of themes or story formats, if you will. But doing it like this with this many characters is really, really cool. And also just, it's not only man versus nature in the sense of like they're fighting against the elements of the cave, but also just like what that cave has done to I guess maybe cavemen, or I didn't really think that they were necessarily cavemen, you know, like just people that haven't left into the outside world. I thought they were just other people that got stuck in that cave and became that, or however. But in any case, just kind of like really stacking the deck against them, against like these just regular people that just literally looking for fun, watching them try to survive. It's a good time. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I do give Juno a lot of credit for wanting to save everyone, or save, I guess originally herself, but feeling that guilt and wanting to get Sarah out. I think I even have in one of my notes is like, you know, she fucked everything up, but damn, she's good at like helping everybody get out, and damn, she looks good doing it too.
I love this movie.
Yeah, I didn't
Talking
expect
about this
to.
movie like really makes me realize how much I love it. And I told you this is one of the better early 2000s, you know, I guess all through like between 2000 and 2010 like horror movies.
So that was one of my questions for you, Doug.
Oh, what?
I know you said that this is like one of the best. You said that even like last episode, prefacing this one. But why did you choose this movie? I mean, was it just that alone? Like, what was your thinking behind?
That's an interesting question. I guess just because we have been analyzing these, you know, these films from like the 70s and the 80s, and I guess last episode the 90s, that really have a lot. They're almost grandfathered in as classics. But this is a movie that's going to be treated in those regards, you know, in 10, 20 years. And it is really such an interesting movie because it is so like packed with information and packed with different readings, but it also works on like a very face value level.
Yeah.
And I just kind of wanted to see what you thought about that. And I thought that would be an interesting little spin.
Yeah, because that was one thing that I wanted to, that you confirmed for me, I guess, is that you do believe that this is going to be a movie that people remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
I certainly did feel that way just watching it. You know, this was what, 2004 or 5?
5.
Yeah. I don't think it's quite hit that mark yet, but it's definitely on its way to. Like the one on the rock that I just can't get over. I'll be thinking of that for the rest of my life. That amazing shot, but also even like the fucking dope shot of her climbing up to escape. That's my note. Like where it's just like she's climbing up the remains, like the bones. It's like a stairway to heaven kind of thing. It's just that's the only thing that's lit. Everything else is dark.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Or
amazing stuff.
those great shots when they're climbing on like the cave ceilings and like the camera's kind of swooping under them. It's really
it's
disorienting.
spinning. Yeah.
Yeah, like there was some really good like technical work going on.
Even the use of the infrared on the camera.
Yeah.
You know, really good stuff.
Yeah.
I think it was
Part of it tickles my found footage fetish.
Yeah. I thought they were going to play more into that.
Yeah, they do in the second.
Yeah.
They do. They find that camera and that becomes a big.
So what's the second exactly? So you said it picks up right after?
Yeah, it picks up from the U.S. ending of Sarah exiting the cave, and she's picked up by like some redneck guy, and she doesn't remember anything that happened. And the cops, there's this one real dick cop who's like, "We're gonna bring her down into those caves, and we're gonna bring this other lady along because we're gonna trigger her feelings for like femininity and like her daughter and stuff, and we're gonna find those people because he thinks that she killed them all." And they do a lot of like redos from the first film. Like they do the bat scare again. They do the whole fingernail ripping off thing again. Instead of being haunted by like these nightmares, she's haunted by like flashbacks of shit that happened in the first movie, which is just a way to fill time with already shot footage. It's not as tight. It's not as interesting. There's nothing to really read into. They really do, like, Juno's alive, by the way. She stays alive in the caves, and that becomes a big thing. The ending is Juno dies when they fight, like, this big boss kind of crawler.
Yeah.
And then Sarah is helping the female cop escape, and, like, she, like, screams, so all the crawlers will go to her. So Sarah almost makes, like, a martyr of herself as, like, the other one escapes. And then it turns out, like, that hitchhiker who initially picked up Sarah, like, basically hits the female cop over the head with a shovel or something and drags her back to the cave to get fed. So it like opens up, oh, it's a whole conspiracy that the people around here know what's going on and don't fuck with our way of life. And it's weird. It's just as gory. It has some good stuff, but like it just really is almost disrespectful to the Sarah character and the Juno character in the first film. It's not good. It's not even like one of those so weird and bad it's good like Blair Witch 2, which is just such a departure. It's like they took everything about it's like they remade The Descent, but just bad. They took everything good out and just made the same movie over.
I just can't believe Juno survives and their idea of it. That's kind of cool.
She becomes almost like how Sarah was at the end of the first, where she's just like the silent on the badass. She's like, I got a limp and stuff. And they have like a little fight, like Juno and Sarah, and then they make up like, oh, you know, things are okay. We just, you know.
What's interesting about that? What's interesting about making the same exact character and then having them meet? That's not cool. It's not fun. There's nothing to it.
Yeah, there's so
boring.
many. There's just so many. I don't know, inconsistencies within that. So and it was directed by I think the editor of the first. I could be wrong, but somebody who had a big role in the first, because Neil Marshall didn't want to do it, of course,
for good reason.
And he didn't write it either. He's an EP on it, but. We all know how much that we talked in the last episode about how much that credit matters.
Just throwing money down.
Yeah. Hey, can we use your IP? We'll give you like $10,000. And it's like, yeah, shit, fuck it.
Why not?
Yeah, the money's running out from the movie I made in the first place, so.
Oh man. I'm legitimately surprised that this is as good as it was. I'm impressed, and I'm glad that it was. Because I was sitting there ready to just hate this, truly ready with my history of it, of just shutting my eyes, not letting my cousin show it to me at a sleepover, a Lionsgate movie. You know, I associate Lionsgate with two things: horror movies that I avoided, and like Death Race and stupid movies like that.
I was gonna say like Hunger Games, because I think they did that too.
Did they?
Think so. I could be wrong.
Just movies that I didn't care for, you know. But this was good. Is this a shining beacon of Lionsgate movies, or maybe just? I mean, it is for 2000s horror movies. But are there any others that like you can think of that are like?
I'm so bad with like
time.
I'm so bad with like thinking about production companies and what movies they put out. So like. There might be, there might not be.
What about like for the 2000s?
I don't remember.
Really?
I don't remember what Lionsgate put out.
No, not Lionsgate. I mean just the 2000s in general.
Outside? Oh man, Paranormal Activity. There's quite a few movies. I think there's great movies every year. I think there is at least 2 or 3 great horror movies made every single year.
For the aughts? The OOs?
For every year period.
Oh, okay.
I don't think there has ever been like I've never been not satisfied with a year.
Well, you're a very big fan of horror.
I am.
Yeah.
I am. You know what you've been robbed of?
What?
The gorgeous transition between that last shot in the UK ending of it pulling out
Yeah.
and just Sarah alone with just it's her lit by the torch and then the cave.
Mm-hmm.
You're missing the that being juxtaposed with the final shot of the picture of all of them together as the credits roll. Where it's her alone
yeah.
versus that photograph.
The
And
YouTube video
it's-
did show me that.
Oh, it did give you that?
Yeah.
It's so great.
Yeah.
That's such a great ending.
I didn't even
Just
think
like-
of that
yeah.
because then it just popped up. I was like, oh, right. That's,
Yeah.
it's really depressing. One more thing I just thought of I was going to bring up before. One really good technical thing that I loved was when, I guess it was Holly. Yeah, it was Holly that was crawling through like the tunnel before it started collapsing. I almost feel like they had the camera on a string, quote unquote. Obviously, you can't pull a camera on a string, but they were just pulling it, and you can see it like shaking as like she moves inch by inch through the tunnel. I don't know. There was just a lot of great technical pieces of it. That was one of my favorite parts. I just want to see more now by Marshall. I want to see Doomsday. I don't think I ever really watched it. I
You
feel
should
like I
check
might
out
have.
Dog Soldiers. He kind of did Descent with women because Dog Soldiers is a mostly male cast. It's about, I think, British soldiers fighting werewolves.
Mm.
And his whole reasoning for doing an all-female cast was, the men in Dog Soldiers, shit just happens and they react. But women in the midst of their situation will talk about their situation. They'll react to it in a very emotional way. So it's almost like complete opposites. And so I would say that's his best film other than this.
Okay.
Doomsday, Centurion. It's like Michael Fassbender, but it's like
Oh.
a period piece kind of thing.
I thought that was the what was his name? Magic Mike.
Soderbergh? Oh, Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum. I thought it was a Channing Tatum movie because I thought he did like some Spartan looking movie too.
Did he?
I thought he did. I don't know. I don't really watch that many Channing Tatum movies.
He's a hunk.
He is, at least in Logan Lucky.
Yeah.
Great
I
movie.
miss seeing Soderbergh movies with you.
I know we have to.
And we missed Unsane,
We
and we have
still
a horror
haven't seen
podcast,
that,
and we
right?
haven't seen Unsane.
You didn't watch it?
No.
Okay, good. Neither have I.
I'll watch it tonight.
No, you won't. Not without me.
Oh boy, how pissed would you be if I watched Call Me by Your Name without you?
I would be furious. Did you know my record came in today?
Oh, good.
Yeah, I have to go pick that up. If
Oh.
no, it's gonna be closed.
Oh, let's give a shout out to Lorenzo right now for getting a new job title, man.
Oh my god.
Doing a little promotion at work. Another one. He's such a good worker. I don't want to keep mentioning Suchi on this podcast week after week, but
Yeah, this is week 2 now of you.
just
doing
let's like Lorenzo's just gonna get super successful and leave me and us behind.
that. Not true.
We'll see.
Not true. I would never.
So, is there anything else you wanted to say about this movie?
I just I wish that ending. I wish the American public knew better than to pick that shitty ending.
Fair.
Not only was it shit in comparison to the other, it was shit with that stupid jump scare. Just let her survive. If she survived, I'd probably be like, okay, fine, whatever.
It's like, oh, now she's haunted by Juno. Like she's
Yeah,
added another.
Come on, man. It was dumb. But no, but the movie itself, overall, really great. I'm really interested in watching Neil Marshall's other movies. Yeah, just a great adventure movie that turns even more awry than it originally was set out to be.
Yeah. Well, I guess let's go on to this is your pick this time, man. You won't even let me know what it is. So what's the next movie?
All right, so this is a movie that another movie that I just avoided like the plague. Just really just gave me nightmares. And it's also a movie that you have admitted to disliking.
Oh boy.
Child's Play.
Oh really?
Yes.
Oh god damn it! You're gonna make me watch this fucking movie.
Yes, I am.
God damn it! All right, let's watch the fucking Chucky movie. Whatever.
We're gonna watch Chucky.
Tom Holland wrote it, might have directed it too, so at least it's Fright Night related.
Yeah, we're
I
keeping
think
it in
he
the
directed-
family.
he directed- I'm not sure.
I don't know. That's funny
Yeah.
though. It's crazy how he can play such a young man in the Avengers.
Yeah, whatever. Fuck you.
So yes, do you have a copy of that?
No, why would I?
Exactly. Okay, so we're gonna have to figure out viewing option. For
I'm
that
sure
one.
it's somewhere.
Yeah.
It might even be for free on demand.
Actually, it was on Netflix for a while. I don't know if it still is, but it was. It definitely was.
Okay, we'll watch it, I guess.
I just want to knock out movies that I was really scared of as a kid. So,
I should give you religious horror for the next one.
nope. All right,
Say,
guys,
I already have my next
that's
pick.
enough good suffering.
Oh, God damn it. All right, so we're watching Child's Play. Go watch it, whatever. Oh, my God.
Be enthusiastic about it.
Hey, we're watching a shitty movie.
Oh my God! Listen,
right.
if you guys enjoy the movie, don't let this guy rain on your parade.
Yeah,
if you haven't
enjoy
seen it,
there's so many people who like Chucky. Like, I can't take that away from people. Like, there's people who love, like, Freddy and stuff. Like, I love Jason and Michael and stuff. Like, my opinion is not gospel.
no, mine
So,
is.
yours, yeah? Yeah, fuck you. But, you know, if you like it, great. It's not for me, but hey, we'll see what I think of it.
I'm really
Yeah.
interested in. I'm gonna try to pick apart why it's not for you.
Fair.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna be doing the whole time.
Fair. But okay, thank you again for checking out Good Suffering. Don't forget to subscribe to us on whatever podcast you know.
Look, I just you seem so upset. You've never done it like this downtrodden before. Oh
right.
man, you can't even plug our own show. You're so upset. See, this is good. This is good because you put me through hell, making me watch horror movies, man. All right, I'm still adjusting. I love it, but I'm still adjusting. All right, so it's time for you to watch a movie that you don't necessarily want to see, and then watch what happens when I watch it. It's fine. It's gonna be fine.
Okay. God damn it. All right. Okay. Thank you guys for checking us out. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and give us a review wherever you listen to podcasts and maybe some of the places that you don't. We are on the internet on Twitter at good_suffering, on Instagram at goodSufferingPod, and on Facebook at Good Suffering Podcast. Yeah, did I do that right?
Pretty sure that's right.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But okay, thank you guys, and this has been Good Suffering.